So there are times when I just want to sit, as I said, on the couch and just watch a reality show. There are other times where I want to go out and actually be with friends so that I'm not thinking about work. I'm engaging on an emotional, spiritual level with people that I really care about, who care about me. Other times I want to do something outdoorsy, like work out quite a bit, go for a run. Other times just, I love food. So, cooking or going to a nice restaurant. But I think there's one consistent thing. It's cookies. I love me some cookies. Chocolate chip, chewy cookies.
It has to be chewy.
Yeah, do not come at me with crunchy cookies. I'm not taking it. Sending him back.
Hey there, and welcome to Impact After Hours, where changemakers sign off from work and log into life. I'm Camille Lorente, CEO and co-founder of Human Group Media and your host. Today, I'm excited to find out what Muneer Panjwani, CEO of Engage for Good, is really like off-duty. Muneer is a legend in the social impact space. His fundraising and partnership skills are unmatched. Just take a look at how he turned the Trevor Project into a powerhouse for change. Now he's at the helm of Engage for Good, home to the Halo Awards, the highest recognition for outstanding corporate social impact initiatives. Muneer's bio gives off a work hard vibe. Well, now it's time to see if he can play hard too. Muneer, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Camille. I'm very excited to be here.
I read somewhere that you were planning to visit 40 countries before you turned 40.
Yeah.
How are you doing on that goal?
I'm at 31 right now out of 40, and I am still 40. But the reason it's at 31 and not 40 is because of COVID. COVID really ruined it. Obviously it ruined it for all of us, but I feel like I can give myself 2 more years to get to 40, which I think I will. So I'm moving myself.
Move the goalpost a little bit.
Exactly. Those 2 years don't count.
What trip surprised you the most?
There's so many. One trip that I went on so I went to Cambodia back in 2015. And I went with a friend who I just met in India, where I was doing a diversity and inclusion workshop. And a mutual friend introduced us, telling us that, hey, you two should just meet. You're going to love each other. And I know you're going to be best friends. People say that, but you don't actually really believe it. Mm-hmm. And then I met her. Her name is Payal. And it's instantly, they were so right. Instantly, we were like such good friends. We talked for like a couple of hours. And then she asked me, what are you doing next week? And I was like, I think I'm going back to the US. And she said, well, I'm going to Cambodia. Do you want to come? And I said, yeah, I'm doing it. So she went with a strange man to Cambodia, and I went with a strange person that I just met to Cambodia. And it was one of the most beautiful trips. Cambodia is beautiful itself, yes, but because of friendship that we created in that time, in that 7 days that we spent together, it was the surprising element of that trip.
We know that your journey involves you being a change maker because of the organizations that you've been a part of, that you've led, the success that you've had. When was the first time you felt like you were a change maker?
I don't know when the first time was, but what gave me the confidence to say that I was a change maker was when I acted on my instincts, when I stopped talking about what bothered me or what I saw as unjust or unequal or something that I just felt so strongly about. When I stopped doing that behind the scenes and started doing it in front of the scene, right? When I started to actually say what I felt in the moment in front of the people that needed to hear it, that's when I felt like, oh, I have now not only a responsibility, but I have a voice. And I look around the room, and if there's nobody that looks like me with my experience and I have something to say, I told myself, say it. Just say it. That's all it takes. And that by itself is change, right? Because I'm bringing a perspective that hasn't existed in this space before. And when I started using it and I started getting comfortable with it, when I started to see people mimic that as well, other people started using their own voice and join me, right, in figuring out what they wanted to say, then I started to feel like I had something to say and people wanted to hear it. And if I didn't say something, that it would be a loss for everybody else to not hear that from me.
I also struggle with labels, and for many reasons, but I think a lot of us in social impact are also like, we're just doing this, right? Like we're this is, sort of our calling, or this is the journey that we chose to be on. And we're not so hung up on like, oh, I am this and I do this, right?
Yeah.
But when you hear somebody else saying that, oh, I look up to you, you inspired me to do this. So that responsibility is part of the work, right? Like that you are actually influencing someone else to be a change maker.
Absolutely.
So it's that acceptance. It becomes part of the job, part of the work that we do.
Totally.
But it's time to get into the fun zone.
Okay, let's do it.
We will start off with a lightning round of seemingly random questions. Are you ready to play?
I'm ready to play. Let's do it.
Pick a word that would best describe your younger self. Rebellious, nerdy, athletic, peacemaker, or a loner.
Literally, before you even said rebellious, my mind said rebellious. Absolutely rebellious. I was.
So we got it. Okay.
Oh, absolutely. I was a pain in the ass for my parents, through and through.
Why? Can you give us like maybe one or two moments when you were younger that gave your parents a headache?
My dad moved to the U.S. when I was 4 years old. So he moved, sort of left the family to make, better life for all of us. Mm-hmm. When he came back when I was 8 years old, I had missed him. And so I would attach myself to him. And I would not leave his side. And, he hasn't been in India, his own country, and had seen his family and friends in 4 years. So, of course, he wanted to do his own thing. Me being a brat, be like, no, you have to spend your entire time with me all the time, every day. So what I would do is I would negotiate with him and I would say, if you want to go see your friends, give me 100 rupees. So he would give me some money that I would go and like buy, Coca-Cola and like, a Cadbury bar with. Uh-huh. So that for me, that felt like a good experience. But he was just like, you keep asking for money. What's going on? And I think that's also when I learned very early on how to negotiate properly, how to get what I want, which now is coming in handy very well in my career.
That's why you're a fundraising pro.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh.
Exactly.
Now we know.
Yeah.
Okay. So do you prefer foods that are savory or sweet?
Sweet. I'm a chocolate guy. Sweet, sweet, sweet.
What is your favorite smell, Muneer?
Oh. Wet ground. I really like wet ground. It reminds me of the monsoon season in India.
So like after it rains?
After it rains. After it rains.
Yeah.
It rains after a long period of dryness and the ground is just thirsty for water. Uh-huh. And it hits it and it releases a scent. That scent reminds you of India a lot in my childhood.
From your favorite smell to your favorite rom-com, do you have one?
I think Bridesmaid is probably the one that I've seen the most. Yeah. It's hilarious. Love it. It's an easy laugh.
We all know that scene.
Yeah, we all know that scene on the street.
We all know that scene.
There's so many scenes in that movie. Yes. In the plane, on the sink. Mm-hmm.
Are you more of an introvert, extrovert, or an ambivert, which is a combination of both?
I'm an ambivert for sure. My job requires me to be an extrovert and I get energy from other people. I do need to recharge. So usually during busy season, when I'm working very hard, I have a bunch of meetings, I'm talking all day in meetings and conference calls, I just want to be myself watching some boring reality show just to turn my mind off. That's how I recharge.
Speaking of recharging and sort of refueling, how do you decompress after a long day? Do you have a nighttime routine or any sort of hack that you do to relax?
There's not one hack that I do. Right? I think the older I've gotten, the more aware I have gotten of what my body needs, what my mind needs. So there are times when I just want to sit, as I said, on the couch and just watch a reality show. There are other times where I want to go out and actually be with friends so that I'm not thinking about work. I'm engaging on an emotional, spiritual level with people that I really care about, who care about me. Other times I want to do something outdoorsy, like work out quite a bit, go for a run. Other times just, I love food. So, cooking or going to a nice restaurant. But I think if there's one consistent thing, it's cookies. I love me some cookies, chocolate chip, chewy cookies. Chocolate chip, chewy cookies. That's it.
It has to be chewy.
Do not come at me with crunchy cookies. I'm not taking it.
What is the best purchase you ever made?
Oh, man. Best purchase I ever made. Oh, this is a good one.
It's a hard one too.
There's a jacket. It is a really hard one because I don't really think about purchases in that way because I just feel like purchases are, they're transitional.
Yes.
In most things. I bought a jacket a couple of years ago, probably like 3 years ago at this point. It's just a black bomber jacket. I remember trying it on and just feeling really good in it. And it's one of those things where now it's like it's got an emotional attachment to it where I just want to bring that feeling back a little bit. I put that jacket on, it feels really good. That's the first thing that popped into my head. But there's probably many more things, that I've purchased that feel really good.
No, that's great. I mean, honestly, like clothes have also some type of power, right? That could set your mood.
Yeah.
We did mention the Halo Awards earlier. Well, first I want to talk about the design of the award. Just very quickly because it looks gorgeous. How did you pick that design?
You mean the actual logo and the branding?
Yes.
So funny story. I'm a huge Beyonce fan. You might have read this in some of my older bios. I mean, who's not at this point, right?
Who's
you kind
not?
of have to be. So during the Renaissance, she was wearing this dress that was like I forget the design. I think it was Pucci, but she was wearing this like tight one piece that had like beautiful bright pink, blues and yellows and greens in it. And when I was working with the designer to design the logo for the full conference, Engage for Good brand and the Halo Awards, we went through so many iterations of colors. And then I watched the Renaissance documentary in the theaters. As soon as that scene came on, I was like, that's what I want immediately. And I sent it to my designer and I was like, use all these colors. Please make it fun, bright, energetic, just like she does. And he designed it. And I was like, this is it. And it hasn't changed since.
I feel like Beyonce in so much of, this social impact work, like there's a way that you kind of like, she has an imprint on all of us. And I'm glad we asked about the design of that award because, who would have thought that Queen Bee herself influenced how it looked. But if you won an award yourself, Muneer, who would you thank in your acceptance speech?
My parents, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
My dad sacrificed a whole lot, and so did my mom. But as I said, my dad left our family when we were very young to make a life for himself. So everything that I have, everything I'm able to do, my family's been able to do, my sisters are able to do is because of him, the sacrifices that he made.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely my parents, my good friends who've stuck by me through and through, who've given me the hard advice when I needed to hear it. Friends who showed up when things were tough, friends who were there to celebrate, when things were great. And depending on the award, right? I mean, I have an amazing team at Engage for Good. So if it's for the work that I'm doing at Engage for Good, absolutely my team, I would thank them because without them, none of this would be happening.
Amazing. Yeah, it's interesting, when you hear or you're watching like an award show, like a big award show, right? Like, and it usually is like family, parents, people who've been with them because before you saw them on this like pedestal and before they had this like big moment, a lot of people were involved in helping them get there. So, there's a reason why these people are mentioned in acceptance speeches.
Absolutely. And you learn that again. I mean, I feel like there's a theme in our talk right now that the learnings that you get as you get older and become an adult, right? You start to learn more about your parents and appreciate all the things that they did that you never did as a child, right? Because my go-to as a child was just to be angry.
Oh my gosh.
at them, for all the things that now I know were fantastic that they did, but at the time I was so angry about.
When we were living back home in the Philippines, when I was younger, my dad too did the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Greener pasture, earn for the family, that sacrifice. Of course, when you're young, you don't understand that. There's no way you can wrap your head around why that's important. And now, you're leading Engage for Good and, everyone who's had that like similar experience, like that was necessary.
Yeah.
That sacrifice was necessary for you to be here, right, where you are.
And for them to have that clarity at such a young age, right? To have not only have 3 kids, but then to know that this responsibility is responsibility of generations.
Yeah.
Right. To then take the biggest risk of their life at least in my family, to take the biggest risk of their life to separate so that we could have generational happiness and success and choice is something I just think about all the time. Like at 18, my God, I had no idea who I was, and I'm sure they didn't either, but they knew one thing. They knew they needed to take care of the family, and they did.
So for anyone listening or watching us, call your parents, say thank you. Maybe that's a reminder for everyone.
I should call my mom after this too.
I know. Now I'm like, now I gotta call my parents. They gotta hear from me. Okay. If you could trade places with anyone for a day, who would it be and what would you do?
I would.
Not Beyonce, Muneer.
I mean, no, Beyonce's fine where she is. I don't want anybody to take her place. She's perfect. Definitely not Beyonce. I would not want to be in those shoes and then disappoint everybody. No. My mind immediately goes to, there's not a specific person, but my mind just goes to somebody that has transformational power, right? To make a lot of people's lives better, right? So it could be a politician or somebody who just has a lot of money, a lot of resources, right? And you can just turn the spigot and make a lot of things happen. So there are a lot of people like that, right?
Yes.
Maybe if I could, I would want to be the president for one day and change some of the things that are happening now. Maybe I want to be, a multi-billionaire and see the power that I have with that to see, it's just not about giving money away, but like the access that you have to the rooms and the people that you have with that money, right? To then be able to change minds and to give them maybe something that helps them shift how they think about a problem would be something I would try to do.
If that were to happen, we know for sure, like just based on what you've accomplished, Muneer, that responsibility and that power would be in good hands. Final question. We have come to the end of the show, Muneer, but what is your go-to after-hours media? What have you been watching, reading, or listening to lately? I know you mentioned that you love watching reality TV. Maybe you could be more specific.
So people are going to be surprised by this. I love watching true crime documentaries. So like any sort of unsolved case, anybody going to jail for an unjustified reason, a murder mystery of some kind. I love them all. My boyfriend and I joke about this all the time. He likes to watch comedies and happy things and like penguins dancing. And I like to watch when people died and like what happened afterwards.
Yes.
For some reason, I just find that really, really interesting.
I mean, you're one in a million.
Clearly, yeah, because there's so many shows out there, right? Yeah. There's a reason for that.
So many people there's a reason. There's the reason why they exist.
Yeah.
Anything that you're reading or listening to lately?
I am listening to The Diary of a CEO quite a bit right now. Love that podcast. There's so many beautiful conversations on that really get you deep into a topic.
Yes.
There's one that I was just listening to about the other side of DEI. So like, what does the anti-woke movement want? And I listened to it just out of curiosity, and honestly, I learned so much. So I know I think that podcast offers a perspective that is not a singular perspective. It gives you a variety of perspectives that make you think about an issue from a really dynamic way.
I agree.
Yeah. You listen to it too?
I mean, of course, Diary of CEO is like one of the most popular podcasts out there. Yeah. But I completely agree about like our medium, podcasts.
Yeah.
Where there's a reason why some of the most influential people go on podcasts.
Yep.
Right? Or why these shows tackle very complex issues, because they can do it in, they can break it down. There's a reason why people might either not completely replace, online research or some of the other forms of media, but they do gravitate towards like listening to shows because they can do it at during their own leisure, right? Or, driving to work, doing a chore, and they can learn something in a way that's a bit deeper than just like maybe reading it off of social media or something a bit more ephemeral, right? So I Of course,
bias.
I have my biases. Yeah. Yes, of course. But I understand how, that episode might have, I don't know, struck a chord or provoked you to think deeper.
Oh, absolutely. And I also think there's a different perspective to podcasts, which is that in an age where we're so disconnected from each other, we're not having these conversations. I think listening to somebody else have nuanced, meaningful, dynamic conversations where they challenge each other without yelling or shutting down, I think makes us feel part of some sort of a solution. That I want to have these difficult conversations with somebody in my life, but maybe we just can't for whatever reason, right? Maybe we don't have the other person to talk with, or you don't have the skills to have those conversations or the knowledge to be able to have that nuance in your conversation. But for me, at least, listening to the conversations makes me feel like I can model that in my life in a lot of ways too.
Yeah. There's that. And also, you sought that episode, right? Like it wasn't forced upon you. Like you were naturally curious. That. You chose it and then you learned something from it. So, we have come to the end, Muneer, but we will not let you go just yet. Before we wrap things up, you had your big conference in Palm Springs at Engage for Good. Is there anything else big that's coming up for you or for the organization that you want to share with our listeners?
Yeah, we're going on a bit of a national tour with local events for social impact leaders in about 7 different cities over the next 6 to 8 months. And the reason for that is because our conference feels like a reunion for a lot of people. It's 700 people, nonprofit, for-profit, agencies, consultants, all coming together to learn from each other and to build bonds. And we realized that you can't just do that once a year, and people want to meet more often. So we're creating more smaller gatherings in those cities so that people can continue to stay connected, but also focus on different topics that need a bit more attention. So we'll probably do a few of those events on specific cause areas that are in need of some more collective support.
Any cities that are already in the works?
Yeah, we're actually hosting one in San Francisco next month. We've got LA coming up sometime in late summer. We're going to Atlanta, DC, and Chicago as well. So if you're interested, go to engageforgood.com and find out the date when we release them, and hope you can join us.
That's exciting. And I feel like before you gear up for that national tour, Muneer, I hope you do get to relax and spend time with your loved ones. We know we were just talking about that before we went on air. So I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
And thank you for hanging out with me.
Thanks for having me. This was really fun and interesting questions. I'm going to be thinking about these questions for a while now.
Yay. That's awesome. Thanks, Muneer.
Thanks.